Yo, what's good, people? Welcome. Thank you for watching all of my videos. What's good, right? So, I'm in Chennai right now. Feels very nice. So, I want to make this quick video to explain how many people struggle with the ego. When we become spiritual, we think that the ego is a bad thing. And you are right and you are wrong, because the ego has been created to protect you, essentially. But when your ego is based on a bunch of false beliefs, you're technically you're protecting something that isn't real, right? So use your ego to build extreme arrogance, but surrender yourself to God. So it's like now you are protected, but you're based on reality. You're based on a higher frequency. The problem arises when you are based on your lower self, and now you're egoistic. Now you have no power, you have no energy. You're just destroying yourself. But if you're based on reality, right? If you're based on the truth of existence, now your ego supports you to create change and to protect yourself. Because you may think, oh, the ego is bad and it's a distraction and it will take you farther away from God. But you got to understand, the ego is the very way you will be able to interact with most people nowadays. The ego is through what most people are operating. So you cannot just operate through the God vibration and expect someone to understand or understand what you're saying. Utilize the God energy as a source and surrender to that, and manifest an intense, arrogant ego that will literally bring you the power needed in this 3D matrix to really change reality. See, you may think that not screaming at someone who's hurting you is a wrong thing because it's egoistic, it's causing negativity. No, sometimes you need to shock someone out of their egos, out of their third dimensional egos, in order to let them realize that this is the reality. You're operating off of absolute ignorance, and until you really aggressively assert that into them, they're not going to know, or they're not going to be able to understand that. It's like you can say, be peaceful, be relaxed, to someone who's trying to stab you, right? It doesn't work. You have to exert that aggressiveness back based on the reality that I am fighting to protect myself, and I'm fighting to protect God, which is operating through me, right? Your ego is supposed to be used, but what happens is we let the ego be the forefront of our identities, and this is when we totally lose track of the source energy, and we end up essentially destroying ourselves, because the ego is a double-edged sword. It really is. There's no use for the ego. In essence, there's no use for the ego. The only use the ego has is when you go about life and you're interacting with the world, a bunch of bots are going to look at you and think that you're this physical body, which is far from the truth. If you have ascended the way I have ascended, you are not the physical body. You are also the physical body, but you are the soul, right? You cannot just say, I am the soul, I am not this body. You have to understand that you're experiencing God and your soul through this physical body. So it is important that you strengthen your ego based on the divine truth of enlightenment, based on the truth of aggression and surrender, right? I was just sitting in the train, right? This guy with a vibhuti and a kumkum was sitting opposite me in the next seat, right, or whatever. So he looked at me and he started gazing at me like I don't know what was going through his mind, but I could feel that it wasn't right. So I just gave him a look back, and he continued looking. It's okay, I let it go. And then after 2 hours, he slept. He ate some garbage and he slept. You know, they constantly sell stuff on the train, these people. Whatever, food is food, right? Whatever. That's what he thinks. So he ate it, and I'm just doing my thing, and I get this inspiration out of nowhere to start writing something. So I take out my book, put on my headphones, and I start writing. The minute I look up, I see him again staring at me like this. I lost it. At that point, I was done. I'm not going to sit here and talk like, everything is okay with negativity, right? So I directly address him. He's an old man. I could not give a shit. I directly address him and said, "Why are you looking at me?" In Telugu I say, "Indu nanu chustunnao? Emi, emana kavala?" I directly address him at that point, and he didn't know what to do. He woke up from his goddamn sleep. So he just woke up, and then after that I felt that he wasn't really thinking about it like that. After that, the people around me also respected me, because you got to understand, someone who's on such a high frequency, it takes intense courage to even drop down into the ego and establish dharma, to establish truth, to fight off negativity. Because if everything is negative, someone has to pick up a sword to kill the enemies, right? Who's gonna do that? That takes immense courage. It's easy to sit and meditate all day for a spiritual person, but it's difficult to come down from that higher place of surrender, to surrender let me word this right. For the lower self to be established in the surrender to the higher self, thereby the higher self has a way of expressing aggressiveness, ferociousness, independence through the entire being of a person, right? And it usually plays out through the ego, because the ego is what most people understand. If you just start speaking highest truths and start doing all sorts of things, they're just going to be like, I don't really know, where's the tea, where's the chai, where's the bondas, samosas, where's the chicken, some bullshit. You have to understand, people can only understand you from the level that they are vibrating on. So you can't talk to a beggar about enlightenment. You can't talk to a prostitute about you can't talk to a prostitute about divine love. You can't. I mean, usually, the most cases, you can't, because they're on a different frequency. So understand, operate from your heart, see and feel before you think about something and create an opinion. Sometimes a person who may look like he's no good can have more love in his heart and more love for life than a person driving in a goddamn BMW who's chronically depressed, doesn't know what to do, doesn't know why he's living, but he's having a BMW, so other people are going to view him a certain way, right? So understand, feel before you think. Allow your feelings to empower your thoughts. If you feel something is negative, address it. Be courageous enough to address it in that moment and end that. Fight to not have a fight. Fight so that you don't have to fight, right? If you don't fight at all, you're going to end up being beaten and all the negativity is going to get into you. At some point you're going to like not be able to be with yourself, because that's the way negativity is. It just brings you down and down and down in a sunken place. And after some time you don't even know what you're thinking, you don't know what you're feeling, and you just want to actually just end it. And that's not okay, and that's shouldn't be experienced by anyone, because that's not a place we need to encourage in this world. For far too long, people have been killing themselves based on ignorance and this system that is essentially destroying you. Thank you for watching all of my videos. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and let's vibrate high, divine love. Boom.